All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I think that's working now. We are back to playing Werewolf the Apocalypse tonight, continuing our Future Lies and Dust campaign, and we ended, I had already killed their base, and that's that. So that's basically the end of the campaign. But we're going to persevere nonetheless. So Melissa's very angry. So she's very angry in real life. So she's about to rage, which is very nice. So all of you can see what I have to deal with all the time. And
we learned last session that rage is not easy to maintain.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned some things. You guys probably should have got more rage here and there, but live and learn. But yeah, we're continuing tonight. Probably going to finish up the first little story arc tonight, and we'll see how it goes as you see if you were able to save your Karen. Because Karen is in a lot of trouble. I'm just going to lean into it from now on and just actually say Karen is what I'm going to do. And we'll go from there. So before we get in, why don't we just do a quick round table, see who everyone's playing, and then we can get started. So, Jeremy, tell us about Eustace.
Eustace, he's the Philodox, Hart Warden, just a real nice fella. Has the Heart and Soul Saloon here in town. Tries to kind of balance things out. When he's in human form, he's just really enjoying his human life. When it is time to finally wolf out, he'll rage much as he needs to. He's got to build up to it a bit, but just kind of trying to find that nice balance between the two.
How old is Eustace? I know that that Duke is pretty old, but how old is Eustace?
I'm going to say Eustace is probably early 50s.
Okay, so we have two relatively elder werewolves.
Yeah,
werewolves don't live very long. So if you're in your 50s,
oh wait, you say werewolves don't live long?
I mean, like if you're aware, like you don't live that long as a werewolf. It's not that kind of life, Mm-hmm. So you don't really see a lot of octogenarian werewolves around there.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. So there's two of you that are already the two of you in your advanced years relative to werewolf. Relative to werewolf. Okay. All right. And Eustace, you also, I think you're the only one who really took damage last time. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's right.
So I made sure to just fumble all my early rolls.
Yeah.
And just let myself get tossed around like a rag doll, because that's how you learn a system, is you just put yourself right in the mouth of your opponent.
And that's some really bad news for you, as the attacks of those creatures have one of the gifts called Callie's Gift, which means that you can't heal and mend that damage right away, even through magical means. So I was just doing little rule checkage tonight, so that's gonna be fun for you. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't think we'll have any fighting tonight.
That's great. Okay.
I doubt we're gonna have any fighting tonight. It's okay.
I've got like 3 other character ideas. It's fine.
Fair enough. I mean, like you're at a Karen with other werewolves, so you can just pick up one of those. It's fine.
Yeah, my next character will be Coral. Coral. Send Coral to Karen.
Great.
Terrible. Melissa, tell us about Selena and her motorcyclist friends.
Yeah, so Selena, when she's not in a werewolf, has the look of an aging hippie. So I was the other not spring chicken referenced in our little werewolf group. She is I just had it and then I moved it, Children of Gaia Theurge. Her and her and she got to use her hair sleep. I was excited about that. I wasn't sure when that would come into play, and it was like the first thing I did as a
and then broke space-time continuum and somehow went through a window, I recall. So yes. Are you also in your 50s? Are we just playing a bunch of retiree werewolves? How old's Selena? What do you think?
I mean, aging, so I'll go late 50s, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is wow. I didn't know this. I would have changed some things. Okay.
I didn't either until I was describing her, and then it just sort of fell into aging hippie. So
I love the optimism that there are at least, so we'll find out when we get to Lou and Jacques, whether or not we have more 50s. But I like the optimism that there's a pack with 3 werewolves in their 50s.
Well,
either you're the luckiest people in the
there is tonight. We don't know if they'll still be here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Okay, next up, the third member of the silver wolves, foxes, or something. We got Duke. Tell us about Duke, Evan.
Yeah, Duke Dustfang is apparently a geriatric werewolf. Was not aware.
Yeah.
I thought I was just making like a middle-aged person, but apparently he's on deathbed. He is a wandering cartographer. He's a silver fang, so he's very into the lore and history of the werewolves and kind of the lands and how they were divided many years ago. And since the war and the worm has kind of broke everything apart, he's been trying to kind of salvage that lost history and keep it together with himself and teach his pack about the old history and the old ways. And maybe if he doesn't die by old age, not by werewolves, he might be able to reunite his old tribe and try to get some of his land back. But the clock is against him. So
clock is definitely against. Well, it's pretty much against everybody at this point. Is the world's basically ending. It's interesting too because like in the reading, reading the book, the core book, it talks about how like younger werewolf generations look to their older werewolf generations with some sort of dismay. Like they're the ones who failed at their job. Disdain. That's a better way of putting it. Who failed at their task. So like, I think the three of you are part of that old generation that failed at your task.
Yeah. They settled down and opened bars and
yeah. Oh, all right. Next up, Kipser. How old is Lou?
Lou is mid-30s. Not quite late 50s. She is a PI, works blue collar, mostly corporates, crime. And she's Blackford wolf. She doesn't have the white hair or the silver hair or the graying hair yet.
Who says other people have graying hair?
I don't know.
Assumptions.
Definitely.
Selena dyes her werewolf fur. She just goes into Krinos just so she could put the dye on.
And Lou is a glass spider werewolf, which means they're interested in sort of connections and technology and advancements, and does believe that the older wolves have just brought lore of failure and loss to Lou, and that they are going to save their kin, dragging them kicking and screaming to a different path, even if it kills them.
Oh, it's going to. It's definitely going to.
Yeah.
So,
but clearly this old way is not working. Time for a different thing.
Okay. And then finally, Aaron, how old is Jacques?
Jacques is early to mid 20s.
There we go. Nice youngin'.
He is part of the young pack.
Okay.
Jacques dog years.
Jacques Roulette, the human name that was given to him, not what he considers his real name, because he was born as a wolf, unlike the rest of the pack who were born as humans. He is a Red Talon tribe, born under the warrior moon as an Ahroun. He was born as part of a true wolf pack in the hills of West Virginia, where he was found by a kin finder and brought into his first werewolf pack and coaxed as his first change as a small boy. But he still kept close ties to his original wolf pack. And when he was a young adult, Pentex moved a coal operation into the area, and they were actually doing research, and they hunted and killed all the wolves in the surrounding hills for fear that they might be werewolves, inadvertently killing off his entire wolf pack. So he went into a rage, slaughtered everyone, blew up their mines, and his pack there in West Virginia told him that he was a little too hot to handle and that he needed to go west quickly and disappear. And that's when they gave him the name Jacques Roulette. So he turned into a hispo, and he ran each night for as many nights as it took until he ran across a wolf sanctuary in Arizona and found a new home, at least temporary home, and then found this new pack. By the way, he hates the Weaver with all his heart, and he thinks the Weaver is actually the problem. Fully supports culling of humanity, and completely blames the older werewolf generation for having lost the war.
So do you younger people view, because like 50 is not like super old or anything. I'm not, they're not like, but it's a very violent life is what I'm getting at. And so like,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And that clearly has not worked.
Okay. All right. So you got to go for a less violent. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
Jacques, he has a hard time still judging humanity, human ages and everything. I mean,
sure.
He prefers to be a wolf, and he stays a wolf as much as he can. So he has a hard time with
that wolf sanctuary you hang out at a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So I seem to remember when we rolled up Forbidden Lands characters, Kipser, that like my character thought your character was like young and like needed to learn a few lessons. And that didn't really play out in that game, but maybe that will play out in this game.
We keep doing it. Eventually that story beat will come up.
So now I've already written down some ideas for the next arc of the story, and it's going to involve a bingo hall. So I'm really excited about that one.
bingo.
I used to take
And then I
bingo,
rage.
so I'm really excited because I know all about it. It's great. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start up. Last time around, we began as much like I began the Hunter campaign, is that the dust storm raging over Phoenix and all of its rural outskirts. The pack, you were waiting out the storm inside Heart and Soul, which is Eustace's bar. It's a neighborhood bar, I should say, near your sept. Now, power was flickering. There were, as Lou discovered, these kind of spirit-possessed bats that were crashing into the windows and walls of the bar as well. And the patrons, I guess they shrieked once or twice, saying there was something out in the fog. And one of them even got dragged away. At a certain point, Selena, Lou, Jacques, you went outside. You discovered the wounded body of a new wolf by the name of Hector Pacius, who had just kind of been found and brought into the fold at Gaia's Grove. You noticed that he had been assaulted. He had bites and claws, all sorts of things. Once you tried to treat him, you kind of, at the very least, you brought him back to consciousness. He told you that the sept and the cairn were under siege, and that he was basically sent to come find you. Now, before you were able to race back to Gaia's Grove, which is a citrus grove, a black spiral dancer in this sort of corrupted, partially bat-like Krynos form attacked the bar. And the good news was that Duke had already kind of gotten all of the mundane patrons into the bathroom at the time, so you're able to kind of shift and everything. Eustace took the worst of it. As he got pounced on, but eventually Jacques was able to join the fight. Duke was able to kind of help out a little bit with rage, and you were all able to take care of that creature. You then ran back to Gaia's Grove, or I think you drove back possibly, and you found that the entry gates had been smashed open. You found that some of the citrus trees had been uprooted or at least damaged in some way, and then there were a number of the buildings on your commune had also suffered damage, and there was this melancholy song that was like kind of lingering on the wind. Someone somewhere was singing this, and it kind of almost sort of deflated some of your rage a bit, but you're able to keep your composure about you. You found several sept members laying all around here and there, and the church, I use that term with air quotes, which basically housed a secret entrance into your underground cairn, which is a kind of underground water source, was also very damaged. When you went inside, you kind of helped up another Garu who kind of said something about Adora Brown, the most respected elder. So she's probably 59, something like that, I would say, was missing. And when you look down at this giant hole in the floor, you notice that the normally beautiful cerulean underground lake that existed beneath your grove had become tainted and opaque, and that is where we're not gonna pick up just yet. We got to do our start of session stuff. So in the game, there's start of session healing, and this might affect some of you. If you have any superficial health damage, this is the exception, unfortunately, of Eustace. I'm sorry. You can regain a number of healing dots, superficial health damage equal to your stamina. And if you spent any superficial willpower, if you have any superficial willpower damage, and you're fine with this, Eustace, you can restore this. You can restore it equal to either your composure or your resolve rating, whichever is higher. So,
and that includes like you spending resolve. That's what's
Yes.
superficial. Okay.
yes, because you spending resolve is in fact taking superficial willpower damage. So it's the same thing. Okay, so we will then pick up right there. You've got this pack, not necessarily your pack member, but a SEP member next to you, wounded, much like all the others you've seen, including Hector, including yourselves. You're seeing, I would say at this point, you've probably seen some consistency across the wounds. There's claw marks, bite marks, and there's all of them are like this festering and infected looking wound. Even Eustace yourself, you're probably still kind of feeling it here and there. Hector was even kind of vomiting this sludge, this bile out of his mouth as he was doing it. But they were able, this werewolf was at least able to kind of tell you that Adora, she's not here. She was missing. She was doing something. And when you look down there, where there's normally supposed to be this beautiful lake, it is this roiling, like boiling. It's like literally boiling black tainted sludge. Your beautiful cairn seems to be being infected, and you can still hear that song, that weird dirge on the wind. I'll turn it over to you. What do you guys want to do?
Would I be able to investigate the lake sort of from a science angle to see if I can see what is infecting it, or do I understand that it's in a magical nature thing?
Knowing that this water source was basically where your rituals would take place, certain rituals would take place, your rites like of shadow passage and things like that, you would literally bathe in the water, and like that would open up transit to the Umbra. You would surmise, but you can certainly roll attack, I think. It'll give you some information if you want to roll like a tech intelligence.
Tech intelligence. Sure. And my int. Okay. And then I currently. So do we keep? We don't reset any rage, so we keep the rage that we ended the last session with.
Yes, and actually, because you all are now staring directly at this pool, which is about as important to you all as can be. This is your reason for being as part of the community, is keeping this place protected, and you can see it's not. I would say all of you can tick up a rage, because this is probably extremely terrible to see. Like I don't imagine any of you are probably taking it particularly well. How'd you do on that roll?
That is a 6, a single 6.
Just one success?
One success.
Okay. Don't forget you can spend willpower.
Oh,
so you can.
Sorry, I read it wrong. 9. Wrong way around.
It's still one success though, right?
Yeah, still one success.
So you can, if you wanted to get more, you can. I'll tell you this, like all you can really tell with one success is that this water looks like some of the most polluted runoff that you've maybe ever read about or seen in your entire life. How it suddenly became this so quickly, like this looks like this has been, like a polluted site for decades, not overnight or not just in an hour or however long it's been since you were last here.
Sure. Then Lou will just kind of go like, it's not good for this. And they'll just grab a tube and just with a stopper on it, collect some water for further investigation later, and look to the rest of the team to see.
Okay.
So Jacques is still in. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, if you hop down, so like there's the floor and then there's like an underground cavern. So if you hop down to get some of that, to get a sample, it is extremely hot in here, and like there's all sorts of steam coming up, but that steam isn't just isn't just water vapor. It's there's something else in it, like it's creating this almost sulfuric like smell. And I need you to actually roll a stamina test. So this is going to be stamina plus composure as you hop down into this.
Composure. Gotcha. How many successes do I need? I have 4 successes.
4 is plenty. Yeah, 4 is enough. So you're able to, you start coughing immediately, and you can quickly cover your mouth, your face, and manage to grab a quick sample, probably a slight burn, but nothing that a werewolf was going to be impacted by. And then you're able to kind of get your sample. Jacques, you were going to say something. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say that Jacques is, he's got no real skills in that way, and he's not particularly good at occult, but he would try, because he's still in hispo form, he would try to pick up the trail or the track of the Black Spiral dancers, try to sniff out where they went or where they've been.
Okay. You can probably do a survival, maybe in a wits, I would say. That combo sounds good to me.
Okay. Survival wits.
I'll also say, while he's rolling, Lou, you also see that there's been some carnage down here as well. You don't see any bodies currently, but you can definitely see, like, on some of the shore around where this water source is, there's definitely signs of blood and carnage and fighting. Like, this is essentially sacrilege. Someone has profaned this place in like the most horrific way.
If you come down here, be careful. It's showed. It's hot. But it's fighting down here. Maybe we can get a trail if you're careful.
Well, Jacques was thinking that. I've got an idea.
So my rage is at 5 now, and my wits and survival are 4. So I'm rolling 4 rage dice. So it can't go wrong.
Wow.
I got 2 successes and did not get 2. Two of the bad ones. Oh, what's it?
Brutal results.
Brutal. I did not get 2 brutal results. I got 1 brutal result, but not 2.
I'll tell you this: the entire area is like, even though there's this sulfuric smell that is probably covering this to a bit. How many successes did you get again? I'm sorry.
2.
Yeah, you can still smell the same kind of wrongness that you smelt on the Black Spiral dancer that was at Heart and Soul. I'll say with only 2 successes, all I would say, Jacques, is that you think they're still in the area. You think they're still in the grove. But in terms of like a specific direction, it's just kind of like sensory overload. Like it's like everywhere.
I'd like to try and pair up with. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, so he would let go of the Hispos form and take his hated human form, so he could communicate that to everyone. Standing there naked in the middle of the citrus grove, going, "They're still here somewhere."
I suppose we communicate somehow while we're still in wolf form, but I'm wondering if I can kind of reverse engineer an ability I have, because one of my rights is the right of the living care, and like I know the important spots to take care of to help keep this vibrant.
Sure.
I'm wondering if you can intuit, then I might have an idea of where they would go if they want to desecrate it. Like I know the holy spots to go to, so I can maybe guess what the most likely next place they would go to try and totally ruin it.
What do you roll for that, right?
Normally I roll wisdom plus craft. I don't know if you would want something different to try and come at it from a different angle.
I would say you can. Yeah. I would say it's definitely an occult. But whatever you pair with that, you can kind of pair whatever you want with that. Is fine. But occult would probably be what I want. Wisdom? Oh, wisdom is one of the. I'm sorry, it's one of the renowns. So you can do occult renown if you want. That's fine. Or even an occult wits, I would take.
Occult wits. Okay. Yeah, 1 out of 7 dice. I got 1 success.
You can take a willpower to be,
and you roll 3. Can re-roll 3 dice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, and let me know how many total you got. Okay, so we got 2 total, I think.
2 total, yeah.
Okay, so I would say you would know. So the grove itself is enormous. Like you have an extremely large acreage here, and the 2 most there's no spots more important than this church that you're in. But the second one would be the trees themselves, so the groves themselves, and that you would know that the more central the trees, the larger and the older that they are, the more important they are. And every year you've been kind of like replacing or planting or kind of pushing outward, but there are these central handful of trees in the center that are probably the second most important, at least not necessarily from a from a they're maybe more from a symbolic sense in some ways,
Mhm.
which in itself could probably affect like the spirituality of the place.
Okay. I'll share that with my.
So is that something for us to go check out then?
That would be what I would strongly push for.
All right, this is just absolute travesty what they've done here, and we need to figure out the extent of everything that they've done and bring them to heel. This will.
We don't think there's
stand.
anything out of character. We don't think there's anything further down here. I mean, she said you saw carnage, but
I would like to investigate this area, but I wanted you guys to go ahead to the grove to make sure it's safe while I do a quick check to see if I can get the direction or anything.
Jacques drops down into wolf form and takes off into lupus form.
Agreed.
Okay. So a
I
couple
will
of
catch
you
up.
are running out into the groves themselves, and then Lou, you're hanging back. Duke, what are you doing?
Yes.
I think at some point Duke is like gonna snap, and he's gonna turn into Krenos and just go like rage into whatever he thinks the danger is. So maybe depending on what they're saying, he's gonna go to the grove. But
Okay.
for Duke, it's like his first true pack, and what's happening is like he's not protecting it, and he feels like he should be, and he's just snapping, and like he's not listening to anyone. Maybe he hears bits and pieces, but it just all turns red.
Okay. So, so are you going to shift? Do you want to shift into something?
Mhm.
So,
But I know there's repercussions for it. But
yeah, it's up to you. Like there's costs for shifting. So like Krenos is like the really monstrous form. Galabro is like the half wolf, half human form, like where you're like still humanoid still, and then there's the two wolf forms. So which one do you want to go into?
Krenos.
All right, so then it's basically 2 rage checks. So roll 2d10s.
Yeah.
Also, if you have to spend 1 willpower every turn.
No,
Okay.
I know, but
Just-
I'm
just-
doing it because of Duke, not because of Evan.
Make sure.
I succeed, so I lose 1, but keep the other.
Okay. So, I mean, you're going to turn no matter what, but you lose. Okay, so you lose 1. All right. So the rest of you, with the exception of Lou, are racing out into the grove, and you're looking, and you're trying to find it. Now, when you get out of the ruins of this church, you can see that, again, there are dotting the landscape, like all over the place. It's very dark, I should say, too. You have like some lights are lingering or still on in some of the buildings, but it's still very dark. It's not too much of a problem for you all as werewolves. Like you have kind of better acuity, obviously. But the dust storm has died down somewhat, but the winds, like there is still a storm, but it's not like you're being pelted any longer with dust. You also see all around are the bodies of your people who live in the Steppe community. You've probably checked a few of them briefly as you came in. You've got the same kind of wounds and such that Eustace had and that Hector had, etc. So you can tell that they've suffered a similar fate. And what I would also say is that the groves are enormous, and they are, as this is a benefit, extremely dense and lush in ways that no other grove is in like the Southwest. It's just that's just the benefit of this. But I will tell you right off the bat, when you're looking around, you can see that many of those are withering. Like you can see that there's dead fruit that is in front of your eyes, like time lapsing, kind of turning brown and dropping. You can see leaves are falling. You can see a few of them are kind of becoming these gnarled old versions of themselves, this sort of slow decay. And it seems to begin on the outskirts and kind of working its way inward. And you're just watching this waft of it. Anybody who wants to can roll an awareness test, but it's going to be a 2 dice penalty to try to kind of locate kind of where like this central, where it might be kind of leading towards.
Awareness wits?
Awareness wits is totally fine, yeah.
Okay. And 2 dice penalty?
2 dice penalty, yeah. For other things.
I got a 10 and a 6. I'm going to spend a willpower to re-roll my other 2 dice and see if I can pop that up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. 2 10s, 6 and a 7. So 4,
it's a crit.
5, 6 successes.
A crit too with 2 10s. Okay, so is anyone superior? Anyone above that? Okay.
Just 2.
I will tell you this, Jacques. You said you're in wolf form.
Mhm.
You're moving. You're moving at great speed. Duke has gone Krenos and is just rampaging through the site of your once amazing and beautiful grove being desecrated. And you see in the distance there is a cloud, Jacques, like in the middle of the grove. This kind of orange brown, almost like fog like a cloud that just seems to be hovering in the middle of the most central part of the grove. As you get closer, your eyes can see that it's kind of spinning and spinning. And not only that, you're hearing the dirge grow louder and louder. It's almost imperceptible, like a person in human form might not notice it, but like you're hearing it kind of grow louder and louder, almost as if it's like kind of camouflaging like where it's coming from to a degree, but you do notice imperceptibly. You would surmise that whoever is doing this singing, it's some sort of desecration rite, and this song is attached to it, and they are likely within that fog.
So Jacques, as a wolf, lets out this howl, and you see him pivot and start to make his way. And he's judging it so that right as he gets close to breaking the edge of this orange storm, he shifts into Krynos form at that point.
Okay. I already know Duke's in it, and so I would imagine you're racing as well. What about Eustace and Selena?
Same.
Okay. Are you is there a specific form you're in or anything?
I was in Hispo previously. I would assume I'm still in that. Just it seems like a good fast form.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
I'm pretty sure I was in
has aggravated.
Glabro, so I think I'll do the 1 check to get then from.
Okay.
Oh, it's still 2 rage checks.
Still 2 checks. Yeah.
It's 2 rage. Yeah, it doesn't reduce it. Okay. So Jacques, I'll say Duke is then probably already in Krenos form, is like closely on the heels. Eustace as well. Selena, the 4 of you, kind of right on the edge of this cloud. You start kind of pushing inward, and you notice that as you start to push in, it's maybe about a 5-foot depth before you don't see any of this dust cloud anymore. It's like suddenly this clear, but in front of you, there it is again. And you have to push through another wave and another wave, and you realize it's like these looping, spiraling dust cloud. And I would also roll over, Jacques, your awareness. You see now there are, and you can smell too, 3 separate forms in here. One, I mean, they're all tainted, they're all foul, they all certainly smell similar to what you've scented before. One of them, however, is different, and you're smart enough probably to associate forms. And you would guess 1 is not in Krenos, but 2 are, and they're lingering in here somewhere. You guys tell me your approach. Are you just flying in like as fast as you can? Are you sneaking in? I know a couple of you were in Krenos, so like I would imagine you 2 are going nuts. But tell me.
I would, especially if there's a couple already in Krenos, I would let them go charging in. Okay. I would make the assumption that the one who's not in Krenos form is the one doing the song. Mm-hmm. So my thought is let the 2 giant full-on werewolf monstrosities go and cause a lot of noise, try and circle around and chomp at the whoever's playing this ballad.
Okay.
So really quick, so I was in Glabro. It takes 2 rage checks to get to Krenos. I failed both rage checks.
Okay, so you lose 2 rage.
So I'm out of rage.
Even with
I had
this
2.
Even with okay, so you have lost the wolf. You have already, I think you've howled for today.
Mm-hmm. I think we all howled.
Yeah.
We all howled last session.
Yeah. And so as you plunge into the dust, like something about the scent, something about the song, whatever it might be, you feel the claws come back, like the length of your nails begin to retract, the hair, the tufts of hair that show up underneath your chin and, all up and down your arm begin to recede, and you can feel everything kind of reducing, and you feel yourself getting weaker at the same time. At that moment, I would say there's some movement within this sort of dark dusty fog, and there are some shufflings of shadows. It's as if there's these two kind of sentry figures that you think probably are defending the one doing this ritual, begin kind of pincering and charging in the direction through this dust cloud towards you all. So, but you all get to kind of tell me what you're doing. So we're moving to like basically a initiative essentially here. So you guys just tell me what you do. You can see there's two dark, large shapes chasing in at you, and then there's which you presume is that third kind of more homage shape somewhere in there too. So how do you all want to handle this? Tell me what you're doing.
I think Duke will, as they're charging in their Krynos form, he will kind of, not really like very obvious or human-like, but he'll kind of try and direct Jacques towards one of them, like almost pointing, and you'll hear the deep, kill them, and pointing at one specific one. And just gonna charge right at him. He doesn't care if it's like a massive football tackle. He's just going straight to protect.
Charging into one. Okay, Jacques, you
Yes,
sense
Master.
this. Yeah. So you're going to tag team one of these large shapes kind of coming at you. Perfect. Eustace, Selena, what are you two doing?
I mean, my initial thought was that they're probably going to draw a lot of attention. I would try and circle around and see if I could get behind and catch the one doing the song.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to want a stealth from you. And then Selena, what are you doing?
Selena might try to do Mother's Touch on Eustace to do something useful before he goes.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
That's int glory.
We'll resolve that first because I think the other one's just going to be a contested combat. So let's go ahead and do yours first, even though we're slightly out of order here. Give me your stealth. Give me your check for your Mother's Touch, and let me know how you do.
So that is 2 10s, which I believe is 4 successes.
Oh, I forgot. I get a bonus to... Wait, does the Hispo not get a non-stealth for Hispo, right?
It's minus...
you're in his
minus 2.
Form?
Yeah, minus 2 to stealth.
2.
The non-stealth physical tests.
Is it a
Labro
minus 2 or
Or two dice bonus. Excuse me, 2 dice bonus to non-stealth physical tests.
Yeah, so I don't get a bonus is what I'm going for. Like,
No,
it's
no,
not
you
a penalty,
get-
but it's just not a bonus.
No, it is a penalty. You lose 2 dice for your stealth checks.
Oh, really?
Labro
'cause
has
you're-
the no.
You're a
penalty.
giant wolf.
You have
Oh,
2
it
dice.
didn't-
It's 2 dice penalty to avoid detection. That's what it says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yes,
well,
you do have a minus 2.
poop.
Might be offset by the cloud, but then again, they made it, so who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cloud's not going
I'm
to be
just
helping you
gonna-
guys. I'm sorry.
I'm going to continue my thing of just rolling 1 success on everything. So, here we go.
Okay.
Jeremy doesn't know
So-
the system well and makes poor choices.
No, just make the choice. It's a story. That's
Yeah.
all we're doing is telling two
Yeah.
stories. All right. So you have 1
So I
success,
rolled-
Eustace.
I rolled 2
Yeah,
10s
1.
for the healing,
Ooh,
Crit
nice.
on-
which is
Selena?
4 successes.
Mm-hmm. And so what is this? What is the effect of this?
So the number of successes is equal to the amount of superficial damage. If the number of successes is greater than my rage, and I've got no rage, so then I can instead heal aggravated damage. So I got 4
Unfortunately-
successes and I've got no rage.
As he goes darting off into the shadows, and you reach your hand out and you kind of brush against his fur, and you see the horrific claws and bites of the form of the black spiral dancer did to him. There's something about the taint. There's something about what's in those that there's no healing from magical means. So it does not actually heal him, unfortunately. There's something about it's a gift. It's
Selena just sort
it's
of
called
looks a
Kali
little
Star.
confused at Eustace because she, kind of reaches out to touch and expects to see a change and doesn't see a change and is like, damn.
Okay.
Because now
right.
she is rageless and successful at healing.
Rolled 1 success in your stealth test, right?
Yep.
Buddy, I don't want to kill Eustace.
That's okay.
All right. So Eustace, you go sneaking and you're trying to circumvent around.
Sneaking.
And as the 2 giant shadows are converging on your location, Duke and Jacques just leap and tangle with one of them. The other one, however, suddenly darts in your direction. And as it does, it kind of leaps into the air, and you can see that it glides down as this sort of bat-like webbing underneath its arms, and allows it to just sort of coast down and jump right on top of you.
Nice.
All right, Duke and Jacques, both of you are going to be making attacks against this one raider. So go ahead.
I have a question before we roll. Can I try and use like leadership for Jacques to give him more dice or something?
As opposed to you rolling?
Yeah, like I don't like he's not a combat, like he's in combat form, but he's also like not a combative person. He's in the sense of like he wants to try and help Jacques, obviously tangle with this guy, but he wants to give Jacques a better opportunity, whether it's like guiding him or like they kind of like mind meld with the blood. Okay,
so just remember that Krinos Forms gives you 4 dice bonus to all physical tests.
Yeah, so I get 5 dice. I have a +1. That's
okay.
All
right. So let's see. Non-intimidation social test auto fail. I think this is ordinary communication is nearly impossible, but I would say No, I'm just reading the rules.
Within the
I
pack,
think you can do it. I think you can do it because like if you're taking like the pack alpha, like you're threatening him to do it, or if you're using intimidation to get Jacques to bend to your commands, then I would say yes. Then it's fine. That makes sense. So go ahead and roll leadership.
Manipulation or charisma?
That's fine. I think let's do charisma because it's probably less, because manipulation sounds more controlled. Charisma sounds just more innate.
Oops.
And it's going to be against basically a general difficulty of the encounter. So, and then the difference will be how many bonuses he gets.
Okay.
And just how many successes you have.
I'm going to re-roll some. I have 1 so far, but I'll get some more.
And
3.
3 total. Okay. So Jacques, you can take 1 bonus die as you feel like this innate anger and sense of like you have to do this. Like this is something that Duke, if you don't go and rip this thing apart, Duke might force you to be ripped apart. So get a +1 on your attack.
So I'm going with a bite. So Jacques is leaping in and latches onto this thing's chest and tries to bite its throat out. So I'm going for the aggravated damage. I'm rolling 13 dice here, 5 rage dice.
Beautiful.
Oh. Okay, I got a crit and an 8 and a 7 and a 6. I did get a brutal on 2 of the rage dice. Can't remember exactly how that works in these circumstances.
That's probably going to be good in this circumstance because it's combat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 successes and a brutal result.
Okay, you have 12 successes.
12 successes because the crit was for 4. So,
can you walk me through how you got to 13 dice?
I
don't think that makes sense.
I've got 4 brawl. 4 brawl.
Okay.
4 strength is 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Plus 4 for being in Krinos form is 12. Plus 1 for
+1 for 1. Yeah. Okay. It all tracks. Okay.
That is math.
So then, I'm just checking something with. All right.
With insta kills, yes.
No. Oh no. He's gonna rip this guy apart. As it was only a difficulty of 6. So that would have been 7 total points of damage. Which these have exactly 7 health. So Jacques, go ahead and describe how you insta-gip this one.
So exactly what he said. He launches, he feels Duke revving him on, and just the rage hits him, and he launches and he sinks his claws into this thing's chest of his arms, and his bite just comes down as this thing's lifting his head to howl with so much force that he bites its head off.
Okay. So you go ahead and you rip its head off, like with your teeth, you just spit it off to the side. Duke, you need to spend a willpower point. Jacques, you're fine because you're actually killing something. So make sure, Duke, you're continuing to spend willpower. Otherwise,
just let me know.
frenzy. So it's basically every turn since we're in structured time.
And that's different than the when you spend it to reroll, or it's the same.
So a Geru enters frenzy if at the start of a turn while in Krynos form, they didn't kill anything in the previous turn and they fail to spend a point of willpower. So I think if you spend willpower, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long as your willpower doesn't go completely depleted. So it's just basically willing yourself to stay in it. You can, and again, you can always, if you want, shift out of it before, willpower.
Before it gets too bad,
Yeah. Okay. So the other one is going to pounce on Eustace. Eustace, actually, no, it's not, because it just detected you this turn. So it'll be next turn that'll actually do something to you. All right. So then, Selena, you did your health. So I think we're done. I think we're done with that round, actually. So new round will start, and we see that there is the head of a a black spiral dancer rolling on the ground, bleeding into the earth. The second one has now pounced on top of Eustace and getting ready to rip him apart. Jacques and Duke, you're still in Krynos form. Selena, you're still there in your Hamid form, and you can still hear the sounds of the singing. What do you all want to do?
I think Jacques would, seeing that the other one has moved away from his protected role, he would lunge at the ritualist.
Okay. So you're going to charge in. So that'll be your turn. Duke, what are you doing?
I think the same thing. He's going to come in like the same. That's what I wanted to do, anyways. Command him to go for this leader singing figure, and just like it's like same thing. It's like egging him on. It's pushing him to like that brink.
Okay. So you're essentially like hounding him in a way. Like you're
just kind of. And I'm like, it's like almost like I'm like guiding him into where to go.
Okay.
You're very tough blue healer.
And then Eustace, what are you doing?
I think it's time to do some castling. We've switched up who's going for the ritualist and who's dealing with this. So basically, I see the bat-like wings coming in on me. The Hispid form like ducks down and hopefully let him go over me a little bit, and I'm going to pounce on him.
Okay. And then Selena, what are you doing?
Selena is being a useless human with no weapons or anything else around. So she's spattered with the blood of this thing getting decapitated and just trying to kind of slink in the shadows a bit and not get killed.
Okay. Let's start with Eustace, as that's melee, because we were already in melee together. Go ahead and roll your brawl strength test versus its attack.
I'm going to do a quick rage check for Raging Strike.
I think I'm only ever going to damage Jeremy at this point.
That's fine. Okay, so I do get it off. So that'll get me up to 10 dice.
Okay, man. That's pretty good. Give us that roll. I have my number. I'm ready to go.
So Eustace is a killing machine, too.
He can work himself up to it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So
good, because I have no combat.
3, 4, 5.
Just
5 successes. I think
5 successes will beat my 4. So the two of you scrap, and you do exactly as you say. You kind of flatten a bit. It floats over you. It turns around to try to rake through you with claws, but you do manage to stay low to the ground. And as it does, you leap up and you bury your teeth into its side, and you can hear it like this horrific, like it doesn't even sound like a wolf as it screeches, as it will take. You said, are you using your bite? Is that what you're
I'm going to do the bite with the ag damage.
And you're in Hispo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be 2 total aggravated damage, I believe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that one is, the two of them are kind of fighting. At this point, Jacques and Duke, you charge into the center. You're not quite in melee with him yet, but you push through like this outer ring. And as you do, you can see there is very much a human man standing right at the center. You see all around him, the kind of brown soil has turned like this kind of sickly dark green and black. You can see that rot is just radiating out from him. When he turns and looks at you, his eyes are just miles away. You can see that there's just this black ichor kind of dripping from them. He has what looks like these self-harm portions, like where he's kind of just carved spirals and branded as he's wearing what very much looks like a muscle shirt, and you can see this big frat like brand on its side, and at the moment it's kind of pulsing and glowing almost, and he continues to sing and sing, and at the sight of the two of you, he just grins, and you can just see this crazed smile, and he just continues to sing, and he does nothing else as the two of you can go ahead and roll your attacks.
And he smells like a human?
He's in human form, so he's in Hamid form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll roll same thing to try and give you some bonus dice. Ooh,
Okay.
4 successes.
Okay. Let me roll for that. Okay. You can take +2 this time.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Oh, not as good. 8, 6. Oh, still got 2 10s though. 3 10s. Sorry. Okay, well, it isn't too bad.
That's
really 4 10s. Sorry, I got 4 10s. Sorry.
You count each pair.
So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 successes.
Okay. This guy.
I'm going to take a picture of this. Nobody will believe me otherwise.
Okay. So the good news for this guy is I actually rolled a 10 on my difficult thing. But the bad news is, how many successes did you say?
13.
you still do 8 damage to him. So which is more than enough. So go ahead and describe how you rip this guy apart.
So this time he comes in, he grabs him under his jaw and just kind of snaps his neck back and just buries his muzzle in his chest and rips his rotting heart out, spits it on the ground.
As you spit it on the ground, it lands, and all around you, all of you can see this. Lou, maybe not if you're in the cavern still. All at once, instantly, all of that swirling kind of sand fog falls to the ground completely. The dirge singing is gone. You don't hear that anymore. And Selena and everybody else can now say that Eustace is in a tussle with this other Krynos. And we'll turn to that one because that one's still going. So Eustace, what do you still brawling with this guy?
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to turn my back to him.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your brawl.
I'll do
strength
again. I think I have to make that check each time. It's the one downside of it. But I did. Oh, I don't know that you. This is, of course, this would be the thing that I crit on. It's the thing that you can't crit on.
That it doesn't actually crit.
That's okay. That's fine. Thanks, guys.
It's better to crit and not need it than to not crit and need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Scroll down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 again.
That's still more than I have. So it's basically the same thing as that'll still.
He's already hurt. He's got the festering injuries. He's just doing his best to playing maybe a little defensive.
So we see this massive Krynos form. Like, you're in direwolf form, so you're quite big too. But it does normally this would be a mismatch, but this thing you are doing quite well with this one.
Yeah, the Raging Strikes spirit animal is a direwolf basically. So he gets as many dice doing that in this form as he would in Krynos form.
Okay. So I will say that you are actually going to you should take a point of superficial damage actually as you bite into this thing and you feel like this smoldering on the roof of your mouth and your gums as the skin itself, the skin of this creature is in it of itself kind of it's got this heat to it that you would not have expected. And maybe the first time around you didn't quite get all the way through the skin, but this time around you do. It also has the kiss of Helios. Okay.
Would that be considered him damaging me or me damaging myself?
It's anyone striking the user with their bare flesh sustains superficial damage. So just from pure grammatical.
Basically, I don't know if I could justify using my reprisal.
I mean, you're the one who triggered the damage, so
I know. I'm just asking. I don't know.
It's okay. You're gonna have a Krynos come in and rip them apart for you in a second. So, all right. So, Jacques, Duke,
I need whatever I can get.
Jacques and Duke, you see what's happening. You see this wrestle on the ground. How you doing, Duke, with your willpower costs and everything?
I'm fine. Yeah, I think at this point, with both of them dead, he will shift back into Hamid, and it's the same thing. He like basically gives Jacques a pat on the butt in the direction of Eustace.
Go get him, boy.
Yep. But he's like way smaller now, and this is massive Krynos form, and you just see Duke, who's I guess naked and at this point,
okay,
covered in scars.
We have dedicated clothing. So,
yeah, and he just I'll do the same thing, just try and guide him and lead him into the last one. And just says, all right, protect the pack, Jacques.
Ah, master.
All right. I'm just going to say if I crit. I do not crit. So I don't think we need to roll this out mechanically. So between Jacques and Eustace on this thing, it's going to die. It's already taken more than half its health, and with the two of you fighting it, you're definitely going to kill it. So why don't the two of you just describe how you tag team and rip this last one apart?
I think I'm nipping at its wings, just trying to like Eustace is playing much more slow and defensive, and nipping at its heels, nipping at its wings, so it can't fly away.
And so he's fighting him, and the thing doesn't see Jacques coming. So Jacques leaps on its back, digs his claws in, grabs his rib cage from the spine, and blood eagles him while he's still alive.
Yes.
You hear a terrible whimper as this thing collapses to the ground. Tongue just flops out, and you can see there's these little sores and pustules on it as it grows still. And I'm pretty sure even black spiral dancers revert back to their Hamid form. So you're as slowly what is it? Not spread eagle. That's not the right thing. It's not
blood eagle.
Blood eagle. Thank you. It's not spread eagle. It's right there in front of you, and you have defeated these last remaining black spiral dancers. You have stopped the dirge singing, and that swirl of dust has stopped as well. So we'll kick back to Lou really fast, as the rest of you can think what you want to do in terms of the carcasses and whatnot. Lou, you've been in this place by yourself, but we can say that one of your Sept community members was here as well, if you need somebody else. But what have you been doing this whole time?
So Lou has been trying to just investigate the fight and trail where the bodies may have gone, because the fact that they're missing is unexpected. Like, where are they in the water? Are they like because I imagine there is sacrilege to removing the wolf body after it's died as well.
So the easiest roll for this is occult, but if you don't want to roll occult, I would say you can roll. Do you have any wisdom renown?
Investigation?
I'll take investigation. I'm going to put it's going to be a higher difficulty than occult, because this is really an occult issue, but like,
okay, I've got 1 in
occult,
and I've got 4 in investigation, plus intelligence.
Intelligence in this case. Okay. Yeah, roll your investigation. It's fine.
Okay. That is going to be a 9. 2 9s. Okay, so I have 2 successes. Since you said it was higher, it's 3 willpower to reroll the dice.
Yeah, how many did you get?
2.
Yeah, go ahead and do a reroll. I want a 3rd success if you're using investigation.
Okay. Yes.
It makes sense though that you're struggling with this, because you're like the tech nerd of the pack.
To be fair,
to be fair,
I do have quite a bit of random spiritual stuff as well. That is 3 successes.
All right. As you're looking around, like, there's a great deal of carnage. You're also familiar that werewolves have significant regeneration. But one of the things you would know, obviously, is that this location in terms of trying to get through the gauntlet to the Umbra, to the other side, this is the most potent place normally to do it. Since you're not really seeing any clear paths out of here, that bodies have been dragged, you would probably presume that some of them, maybe Adora herself, maybe some of the Black Spiral dancers, maybe whoever else, might have actually, before this pool became so tainted, tried to pass through. Because a place that there's something happening so terrible in the physical world, it's something terrible has got to be happening, even more terrible perhaps, in the Umbra, right? So you've managed, like, you don't necessarily know this now, but you all have kind of resolved the physical world, but something more insidious might be happening on the other side, and it's possible Adora tried to go through when she had the time.
All right, Lou will just like knock out a cigarette, put it in. It's a little better smelling than the sulfur, but and she'll kind of like see if she can walk up, because she's going to need Selena to she knows Selena has more of the information on the spiritual, so she's going to start heading up towards the grove.
Yeah, you'll hear from, like, there was that one werewolf that was like next to you when you guys first met. We'll call him Cyrus, as he says, I think they defeated. The song no longer echoes. The dust has fallen. I heard screeches of pain from cowardly wolves.
Yes, it's likely that Jacques got to them a little, but it's meurtre. On y va, ne? On y va.
I have no idea what you're saying. But I will come with you.
Yes. Come. Let's. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're saying.
What's
I
the
will come with
education
you,
system in this area?
Let's go.
So we'll say the two of you, and you reach this section of the grove. Many of these trees have suffered significant rot instantly, almost. And although many trees are still intact, there's like, your grove is suffered severely, and everything in this, and like the stench of rot is still in the air. But you do eventually find Jacques and Duke and Eustace and Selena. You find them near the center. You find 3 brutally destroyed corpses, presumably of Black Spiral dancers themselves, and you are all back together.
I see you have done a very good job. According to investigations, it looks like maybe the people that were fighting down in the lake are in the Umbra. Je ne savais pas. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Something
yes,
I may actually be useful with. And she's always wearing these sort of flowy clothes, so I imagine she still probably has them on. I was not at all useful with that, but this I can help with. We have to find her.
Yes, I came for you, Selena. Yes.
Jacques shifts out of Krynos and into lupus form, hikes his back leg, marks his kills, kicks some dirt on him, and then pads away as a wolf back towards the defiled cairn.
So would this be Selena utilizing like shadow sense?
So a shadow sense?
Maybe I wrote
what
that
are you
down
looking?
wrong.
What are you trying to accomplish?
We're trying to figure out the connection to the Umbra.
Okay, roll, Selena. You can roll an occult.
I can aid you. I have a cult.
Yeah, go ahead and roll occult. Take +1 from Duke as the two of you discuss this. Lou shows you her findings. I'll say this: that the boiling, polluted water has not changed. In fact, the cavern is growing even more and more covered in this hideous sulfuric steam. You notice that the waters are beginning to recede, and recede and getting thicker and more viscous as more of the fluid is evaporating. This beautiful, once amazing pool is still suffering from the effects. Although the rot up top seems to have abated, that down here it seems like whatever they've initiated is still going. Which again, Lou, you would probably conclude there's something going on the other side.
I don't have the willpower for penumbra sense, but Selena, I think this is more your territory at this point.
Selena is flustered. Things are not going particularly well for her this evening.
Or the entire sept. But that's fine. Make it about you.
Well,
ahead.
it was it's more just I completely failed that roll.
Okay.
Would we know, well, go ahead. Keep going.
I'm going to spend
Willpower and reroll some.
willpower to reroll. So
Each willpower you spend can do 3 dice, I think. So if,
So you can do more
so I'm
than
gonna
one on a roll?
I think so. I think you can stack.
Yeah,
it.
it's 3. It's 3. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
cool.
I'm gonna do that and reroll
do
all
it.
of them because
Okay.
everything was
Sounds
5s and 3s and 1s.
Okay. All right.
3 successes.
Okay. So what is there something specific, like some kind of info? I can just give you some basic ideas, but was there something Selena was specifically trying to deduce from what you've learned so far?
I think I'm trying to find and this is me still figuring some of this stuff out, like a crossing point.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's no problem. So normally, when you know that the basics of Cairn is that they are like a very soft spot in the sort of the membrane between like the spirit world and the physical, and that's one of the reasons they're so well protected, right? However, you can kind of do that anywhere. Like you if you have the rite of shadow passage, like you can do it anywhere. It's more there's a difficulty depending on where you're at in the nature of the connection, and that's why it's usually very easy in Cairns. And for you all specifically, you would wade into the waters of this pool, and that is where you would do this rite. However, that seems to have been like you probably could still do it, Selena, but you're looking at the pool, you're looking at the corruption in here. That it might be dangerous to do it in here. It's still possible, but you would probably conclude it's dangerous. You could try to. So that's an option. Another option would be to just find another spot outside of the territory of your sept that is not affected by the corruption. Somewhere you could literally go up the mountain. You could go to Jacques' wolf sanctuary. You could, there's other places you could potentially go that might have an easier path, but the distances are not proportionate in the physical world to the spirit. Like the spirit world is radically different. You could walk 10 feet away from here and do it, and you could be potentially the equivalent of miles away in the spirit world. So it doesn't work quite that way. So there's always that. So it's up to you. But you would recognize there is a risk to doing it here.
Selena, is there, if you want, there is something maybe I can help with a little bit. I have a single-sized shadow shard to enter the Umbra. Maybe it will help you make it more stable if we use it up.
If that would be safer, then
Is that your talisman? Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, so it's yes, it's a one-time use, single person enter Umbra mechanic, but maybe Selena can use it with their actual abilities a little bit better to help.
What I would say is, so there are difficulty ratings for using that rite of passage depending upon where you're doing it. Right now, the difficulty would be a 6. But if you use that, I would lower it by 2 and say it's back down to a difficulty 4, which is still more difficult than this place normally would. It would only be usually like a 2, but because of what's happened. So if you wanted to burn that, and if you wanted to use that, I would lower the difficulty, even though it's not.
Me
exactly
using the
how it
shadow
seems.
passage right brings everybody over, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you just expend the shard as like aid, like to help.
Yes, I'm just trying to help the roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's renown and occult is what I'm rolling for this. Okay.
So is that your desire to use the normal process except have Lou lose shard aging on this?
So I think this would sort of be a group discussion that if doing this here is going to be very dangerous. Is something, I've done this before. I can bring everyone over. They have quite spoiled this area completely. We can go elsewhere, but it may mean that who knows what may be happening to her while we travel. And when we get there, we may be in a vastly different place. And again, who knows what's happening to her. So do we take the more dangerous path, or do we travel and find an easier passageway?
Jacques' muzzle kind of latches onto onto your pants, and he just kind of pulls with his head towards the horrible mired black lake, and you hear him whimpering. But his vote is clearly we do it now because we're soldiers in a war, and this is the war we're meant to fight.
I don't know that we have that much more time left at this point.
Mm-hmm. The corruption could get worse. We need to hurry.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with Duke.
Okay.
He's just standing there, kind of staring at her weird, naked.
I feel like we're all used to
Covered
that.
in scars,
Yeah.
and he is apparently about to die. So, take that with you.
You all wade down into the boiling black water.
And can we help with her roll at all? Like, with rights, can you do that?
I would say in this case, you're all kind of already participating in it. What does it say, Melissa? Do you get bonuses for the number of people that are participating in it? I know that's possibly true.
Speed reading.
You can use any renown plus a cold.
Yeah, you get a bonus. So each one participant can... Okay, so a rite must be led by a rite master. In this case, it'll be Selena, who knows the rite. Each participant, including the rite master, must have at least 1 point of rage. So, Selena, you actually can't do this rite.
Oh, I have to use Song
Duke,
of Rage.
You're gonna have to sing your song.
But I have to succeed on the check too, because I only have one.
And then each other participant contributes 1 rage die. Each other participant who knows the rite contributes 1 regular die. So I don't think anyone else knows that right. So you don't get any regular dice, but all of you will basically convert one of her dice to a rage die. So, hey Duke.
No pressure.
Selena's just a little
We
down
do have
right
audience dice.
Yeah, but I can't re-roll rage. It's a rage check to initiate.
Oh, it's a rage check, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
to initiate the
rages.
song.
Yep.
I only have one, so if I fail it...
It's a 50-50, right? It's a 6 or above. You got this.
All right.
Oh, come on.
I guess Duke, obviously feeling that he's lost the wolf, he will rip and kind of rake his hands across his chest, and scars you've seen across, and the blood kind of squirts out and starts to coalesce around the group. And I'll roll the rage check. Nope.
No, it's a 1.
That is our luck so far.
Wow.
Oh,
Selena,
man.
you have lost the wolf. Duke, you have lost the wolf. I would say the two of you are. It makes. To some degree, like you're angry, but at the same time, like the desecration here is unreal. Like there's probably two sides. Two different sides of the same coin, right? Like on one side, you're extremely enraged and angry, but on the other side, it's like this horrible depression, this horrible lowering of
almost like a Harano state.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And so you try to reach out and you try to get Selena, and Selena, you try to sort of trigger this rite of shadow passage, and it's just you're struggling. You're struggling, and it's just not working. All of you are wading out into this boiling, disgusting, toxic water, and it's extremely uncomfortable. It's not to the point where it's going to damage you necessarily. It's probably just like superficial at worst, and nothing happens. You're unable to pass through. Yeah, go ahead, Jacques.
Is there any other members of the Sept, any other members of any of these other packs that might be able to ease us through the Umbra?
That is a great idea. If you want, let's go searching around. Let's see. You know that other rite masters, there is it's something about rites of passage in the Umbral with your sept seems to attract the hippie ones. So there's 3 total packs. The 2 other ones that are kind of theurges similar to Selena and kind of I've probably practiced this right are Sunshine Bright and Lulu Pearl. Now, the only person that you've communicated with so far is Cyrus Dells, who is not. He's more like Jacques than he is like anyone else. So you haven't actually located them. If you wanted to go searching around, we can say, go see if you can find somebody and see if you can find either of them. It's fine.
I mean, I think Jacques would know their sense probably since he's been in the sub for a while. So he would try to track down either Sunshine or Lulu.
Okay. I'm just going to tick some more Blades in the Dark clocks right now.
Lou will kind of see that Selena and Duke kind of struggled with this. We'll look at Eustace, who is very injured, and Jacques, who seems to be doing quite well right now. And will kind of kneel in front of his wolf form, hold out this shadow shard. We can go as quickly as we can, but you are the strongest one still without injury. You go first. We know who we need to find. It's we'll have to follow you. So here, can you activate the shard? And she'll kind of like hold it out for him to take in his muzzle.
So he turns, Jacques turns back into a Hamid form so he can take it. Does he know how to activate it?
So as far as the Shadow Shard says, it is a Shadow Shard is a fragment of the world's spiritual reflection, a literal piece of the Umbra. It appears as a hunk of glass or other semi-reflective material, but seems to contain the shadow itself. Whether in the form of a rolling turbulent darkness, the guru may break the shadow shard. So you only need to break it within and pulling the werewolf across the gauntlet into the Umbra.
Okay.
Shadow shard exists only as a talent. So for activation, you only needed to break it.
Okay.
So Jacques looks over at Duke in Hamid form. Is this what you want, Packmaster?
Duke is kind of trying to shake off what just happened and is a little flustered. And as you kind of say that, he will, don't ask where he has this. He is going to hand over to you the silver compact. We're not going to say where he found it or where he pulls it out from. He's just handing it to you. And what he will just kind of hand it into your other hand. You have the Shadow Shard in one. He'll hand the silver compact in the other. And he'll just kind of nod. Out of game, you do 1 rage check, and it makes you essentially like immune to spirits. They can't attack you.
Ooh,
cool.
So you might be able to go in there and just like wreak havoc. They will try to avoid you essentially.
You'll have to buy us some time so that we can get there to join you.
So so Jacques will. I'm going to do a rage check to try to turn into Hispo form.
Okay, so you take the talisman from your pack member and Weaver Lover, the person that you hate. You're using the glass shard that is a piece of the Umbra from glass spiders who are functionally spirits of the Weaver. This is literally
come on now.
Antithetical, I think, to Jacques. I'm just amazed that Jacques is so willing to do this.
He's deeply offended by the whole idea, but that's why he asked Duke. He was like, if that's what my Packmaster wants, then I will try to make this happen.
Okay.
So mean.
Okay.
I passed my rage check, so I become a Hispo, and I go down to the pool and break the shard with my teeth.
If you want to do another one, you can trigger the compact.
Oh, that's right. I lose a point of rage, but trigger the compact.
Okay, I'll put it in Discord so you can see what it does.
Okay. Okay. What are the rest of you doing throughout all of this, by the way?
Let's go. I'm going to go look for Sunshine Wolf. I almost said Sunshine Bear. Just out of childhood memories.
Sunshine Bear.
Sunshine Bright.
Bear countdown.
And this portal closes like it's not like it stays open until he comes back. It's like he happens
It's
and
not a portal.
disappears.
Yeah, it's not a portal. He just sort of like bends into the light, and then it's gone as he pushes through the gauntlet to the umbra. So Eustace, you're looking around for sunshine. Okay, and then what is Selena and Lou? And Duke are doing? What are you all doing?
Well, let's go find the sunshine there. Yes.
Duke's gonna investigate the markings on the bodies and try to see if he can understand more about that. Like, obviously we know it's black spider, but is there something deeper
Black
that we
spiral.
can figure out?
Yeah.
Spiral, yeah.
I'm not the bad guy.
I mean, you're not. You're just following and doing the bad guy's bidding. Okay. That's all. Nothing else.
Supplicant of the bad guy.
Okay. So one thing I do want to point out with the Silver Compact, the duration is one scene. So it's not, so like Jacques is not going to be invincible for the entire stay within the Ember. I just want to establish expectations. All right. So I would say go ahead if you would like to roll this is for Duke. You can roll like an occult test. You can roll like, it depends on what you're trying to learn. Like if you're just trying to study the symbols, like you can just roll a cult test. You would know, like that, like we were saying, like they're the signs of black spiral.
Yeah,
But if
either
there's
that or
something else you might-
academics, if it's like a historical thing that he's known about for like something that triggers something from the past, like the worm, fighting the worm, something like that, or whatever you think is more useful.
You can roll. Yeah, I mean, roll academics. That's fine. Academics, intelligence, that
right.
works. And then Selena, Eustace, you're specifically looking for somebody to help you all. And then Selena, what were you doing?
Duke, are you injured?
No,
okay.
Just me. It's okay. Just over half my health is unhealable.
I was about to say unhealable. You can't do anything.
Till the morning. It's just till the morning. You'll be fine in the morning. Okay.
Goodness, Selena doesn't have anything that's useful to do, I don't think. Yeah, I think Selena would just sort of be tagging around with Duke, kind of looking around and seeing what there is to see.
Okay, Duke, you how many successes, Jeff?
I got 5. I got a crit and
okay. So
6
I would say
successes actually.
the thing that probably stands out to you the most, and surprisingly doesn't really have much to do with the symbols themselves. 'Cause the symbols, like it's very clear. Like there are brands on the arms. It looks like the spirals on the forehead and other parts of the skin have been carved recently. But overall, like you can tell that they likely were hiding portions of themselves. One of the things that does stand out, though, is that as you look at all the bodies and you look at some of the places where like some of their clothes have been sort of shredded and left, they all seem to be wearing a very similar garb. Looks like a uniform of some kind, and it looks like, and I would say from your knowledge, you would know that it aligns specifically with like this a kind of a private security paramilitary company that functions within the area and seems to have. I would say that you and maybe some of the other elders across the Sept think maybe they might have ties to Pentex. You're not confident because there's so many different, it is very nebulous when it comes to the way in which they handle their companies. But it's a security company called Lockroom Control. They're a private security firm / paramilitary group. And they all are wearing those same kind of uniforms. You can see their names kind of pop up here and there. Okay.
I couldn't think of the name fast enough. I was like, I know this. I know the answer.
Just look at my prep notes. You'll find them. They're right there.
What was the name of them? They were evil.
Were they? Yeah, they were. So I'll say, Eustace, you're able to discover there is sunshine bright because I want to move this forward, we'll say you're able to rouse her to consciousness. She is in very much the state that Hector was in that she is in no way in a good condition, but you can tell you can at least get her conscious. And she's kind of spitting up here and there, this like horrible bile and stuff. And she's just kind of like reaching up at you and just like, fireflies. Why there's so many fireflies? She kind of just
still in histile form. I'll just kind of like put her on my back. Princess Mononoke, her back.
And so she climbs onto your back and you just bring her, I guess, towards the church. And you kind of plop her down. And she is in fairly terrible shape, but conscious. And she just keeps talking about fireflies. She just keeps fireflies. And there's no fireflies. You look around, you don't see any fireflies.
I will activate Penumbra Sense just to see if I can see anything maybe that she's seeing in the spirit realm.
Okay, you actually do. You do see a very faint glow of thousands of tiny little lights moving about with a certain sense of fury. They seem to be kind of fading, and you would guess that there might have been even more, and maybe something you did with the dirge singer with others has started to kind of fade it down, but they're kind of winking out each one after the other, slowly receding.
Yes, she is right. There is sparkly lights in the spirit world, but they're going out, so we don't maybe have much time left now. Sunshine, and Lou will like grab her face and draw her like close by. The fireflies you see is part of the spirit realm. They're going out. We need your help. You have to bring us to the Umbra. It's going bad.
She looks as though she has been. You look that she is on a major trip right now, like infused with some sort of crazy hallucinogenics, and her eyes are wildly moving about. But she hears Umbra and she recognizes that. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, good. And Lou will like turn around and look towards the lake. Can Lou actually see Jacques in the Umbra right now?
I think you can only see this. You can see spirits, right?
Spirits. Okay. Yeah.
So you wouldn't see Jacques. No.
Cool.
Okay. There's still the issue though that Selena and Duke don't actually have rage.
Mm-hmm. It's a problem. Yeah. I don't know what to do about that problem.
Eustace, we might just be us trying to pack up Jacques.
Okay.
Yeah, you do what you gotta do.
Is there anybody else around here that has the right of rage? I mean, I think maybe that might be a.
Yeah,
I
can do that, but I feel like at a certain point, like there's got to be consequences.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. No, that's fair. Totally fair.
So, Duke, did you lose rage?
Okay. Trying to help you.
You and I can be useful here somehow. You can be useful. I'm not sure if I will be. So far, not.
Lou, when we get over there, I've never tried talking to the spiders, but I know how to get their attention. Maybe you do know how to talk to them. Maybe, just maybe, they might not be too happy with things getting all hijacked and funky over there. May chance you can talk to them, get some help.
Yeah, I will. Spiders not so bad. I'll do my best.
Yeah, I don't know how to talk to them. I just know how to get their attention.
Well, they're usually just hungry and they don't want their shit messed with.
Okay. I get it.
So we'll say Sunshine in her very ayahuasca state will wade out into the continuing to deplete toxic water in your hidden cavern, and will walk through the right of Shadow Passage. The two of you will sort of bend through the gauntlet with her. It is a terrifying experience, and we're gonna explain this to Jacques at the same time, even though he's been there, we'll say, for a scene longer. But as you go through, it is a harrowing experience, one in which that you have not faced before, as you can feel that there is some kind of these dark kind of tendrils kind of tearing away at all of you as you pass through. The gauntlet feels resistant in ways that you've never felt before. It's almost as if you're kind of slowly and painfully pushing yourselves through like this wire mesh fence. You just feel like your skin being pushed apart. You feel your bones being stressed. You feel all of your senses are just kind of singing out with this sense of agony. But one after the other, you do manage to push through. And we'll start with Jacques. And Jacques, you're going to get a little time to do some stuff on your own before Eustace and Lou pop over. But when you venture over, Jacques, you've been, all of you have been on the other side before. You've all, especially around your cairn. So you know generally what your cairn looks like, and you know what your spirit guardian looks like. And so on the other side, you normally expect to see a large glowing kind of like barrel cactus, like this massive sphere with these kind of dripping spikes, and it's kind of hovering there in the sky, or the closest thing to sky. And there is a beautiful blue lake up in the sky dripping down onto it, and then there is another beautiful blue lake beneath it dripping upwards into it. And so you see just like lakes top and bottom, and in between this massive hovering blue, kind of glowing, I should say, sphere. And that is your spirit guardian. Now, the only one who knows the name of your spirit guardian is the one, Adora, who communicates it with it most. But all of you have likely had minor interactions here and there with it. Jacques, when you come over, you find yourself at a slight distance from where you would have expected to kind of come through. Because usually when you come through using that method, you arrive in one of those lakes, either looking down or looking up, but you could see whichever direction there is your spirit guardian waiting in its sort of alien state. But you find yourself on kind of a rocky terrain, and you feel yourself a little bit elevated. And when you look out, you see no signs of your spirit guardian, and you see no signs of those lakes. You see nothing. Instead, you see a massive kind of black tumorous membrane that almost looks like someone has taken a very, very large and very oil slick hood and reached and plopped it over top of the entirety of your cairn. You can't see through it. It's opaque, at least from this distance. You also notice, I would say, Jacques, that there are dozens of glass spiders that seem to be kind of coming and like crawling around it here and there. And we'll start with Jacques. So Aaron, you're going to get a little bit of time here to do what you want until Eustace and Lou show up.
So Jacques' occult skills are pretty weak. So I think he is going to try to stay focused on finding the one person he thinks who might be able to put this right. And so he's going to start trying to scent and pick up the tracks of Adora Brown. So he's going to do kind of a spiral search pattern out and around, trying to pick up her scent.
Yeah. So the problem with that is that in the Umbra, traversing in the Umbra is mostly done either through occult or wisdom, navigation more. Mm-hmm. You're doing tracking. So what I would say is we'll sort of split the difference, and we'll say survival plus wisdom for the roll.
Yeah. Wisdom or wits?
Wisdom. Yeah, wisdom specifically.
So my wisdom is 0. So okay. This is going to be good. So 2 rage dice here.
This is the flip side of the 4 pips.
This is it. I'm like
other stuff.
Yeah. It's like, like I said, he's a fighter. That's what he is. 7 and a 1. So 1 success.
Okay. You know her scent well. Although senses don't work quite the same on the Umbra, you can still sense her presence, that she was here at least. With only one success, like as you're sort of circling around and looking around, none of the spiders give you any sort of issue. Even if you approach that large, it's like a skyscraper in terms of its height. This black tumorous growth, and none of them really seem to bother you. They also don't seem like that. It looks like they're trying to penetrate it. You can see them trying to like rip in and deconstruct. They all look like these. They almost don't even look physical. They almost look like they are these like sort of digital reflections as they're trying to stitch and unravel, and they're struggling, and it looks like they are themselves perplexed about what to do about this thing. I would say the only thing you can really conclude, Jacques, is that likely Adora is inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
My occult is not great, but I do have one pip in it. Can I do an occult check to try to get a sense of what this thing is? Since I think the only way to get to Adora is to get through it somehow.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Occult wits or occult intelligence?
Probably, because it's more about a knowledge thing than it is reactionary.
So that once again is 2 dice.
I'll be here soon.
It would be great if Duke and Selena.
That's
I have the end.
That's a 3 and a 4 for 0 successes. So yeah, he's looking. He's like, he knows this is outside of his depth. He's like,
right.
There's nothing for him to track. There's no one for him to fight. So he's just pacing around it, trying to see if he can understand anything, and hoping in his sad little wolf heart that somebody who has some idea what the hell is going on is going to show up eventually.
Unfortunately, interpreting things is sometimes very difficult because like what something looks like in the physical world doesn't necessarily one for one translate to what it looks like. Sometimes it's metaphorical. Sometimes what you see isn't exactly what you get, and it's more about feeling. And sometimes it is a sort of like an inverted or a mirrored version of whatever was in the physical. In this case, like I would say, you can recognize and even smell like it's like a cancerous growth. It's like rot incarnate, but beyond that, who knows? If that's the case, then Jacques, if you're just circling around, at a certain point, we'll say you're sniffing, you're looking for Adora, and although your senses can't penetrate this black mass, you do catch the scent of Eustace and Lou, and you look, and they're not, while they didn't necessarily come over in the exact same spot as you did, you do see them up on that more geometric. It's sort of like a mountain. You think it's probably like the Superstition Mountains to the east, but it's more. It looks different. It doesn't look the way the ridge lines look in real life, but you can see them there as well. Eustace and Lou, same descriptions. Nothing's different for you all, and you see Jacques wandering.
Yeah, so Jacques, once he sees them there, will run up to them, and he's upset enough that he shifts into Hamid form so he can talk, so he can make himself clearly understood. Eustace, Lou, the cairn has been covered in some kind of cancer. I think Adora is inside it somehow, but I can't find any way through it. I can't make sense of it. You have to figure out how to get us through.
Okay. Selena is better, but I will take a look. So Lou will, presumably with Jacques and Eustace, run up to the dome with the glass spiders. And was it wits or wisdom with the occult? Or do you want intelligence?
So what was it you're trying to accomplish?
I'm just trying to figure out sort of how to enter this dome, if I can.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ideally, occult intelligence, I would say.
Occult intelligence. Oh, actually, my wits is pretty good. Okay, occult intelligence. 1 for occult, and the intelligence is a 3. That is a 9, an 8, and 2 1s.
Okay.
So 2 successes.
2 successes.
Use your wisdom to reroll those 2 fails.
Or willpower.
That is
willpower,
my last willpower.
I keep conflating willpower, wits, and wisdom.
Did you refresh your willpower at the beginning of the session?
I did, but I've been using it.
You can start making them aggravated. So like the first time you burn willpower, it's 1 slash. The second time as you go through, you can make them aggravated.
Or I could use the audience that have been so generously giving us little dice to
Get a max
reroll.
of 1 though. Wait, what did we decide to do with them? I forgot already. What was the audience dice rule?
Was a reroll? Oh, a single reroll?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just not on rage
But it's
checks.
limited to 1 dice.
Just one
Yeah,
reach dice.
okay. Yeah.
I'll take an audience dice and I'll do a reroll.
Sure.
Nope. All right, so I will burn that willpower to reroll 2 of them.
They continue to bend the weaves of fate.
There we go. I got a 6. So there have been 3 successes now.
This
The
is
glass
story I wanna
spiders are
tell.
all looking down at you, just shaking their many eyes, just in
I am-
disappointment.
You didn't get through either.
Okay, so what do you see in front of you? Like there's probably, you would imagine, multiple ways through it. However, if it is to be sort of like this cancerous growth, right, and you're looking to somehow get through it, if it is some kind of membrane, it's possible to maybe like physically rip through it. But the problem is that in the Umbra, it's not necessarily your strength and your claws that are going to get you through it. More than likely, what you're looking for is to sort of try to almost like project yourself in. So you would imagine, like, if Adora managed to make through, she is one of the most spiritually attuned people, Garrow, that you've all have ever met. So she's not strong the way that Jacques is. So she probably didn't physically rip her way through here. So instead, likely she kind of focused and tried to push herself through somehow. So what that basically means for you all is that you can, as you're standing here, you can try to push your way through. This is going to be a resolve occult test to try to push yourself through.
better.
What's that?
That's better, at least.
Yeah.
My resolve is
Resolve,
3.
And so you're essentially trying to push yourself through. However, there will be repercussions.
I've got an idea that I'm hoping might help out.
Go ahead, bring it.
So Eustace he's got the Umbral Traveler lore sheet, so he views things slightly different. Like he can see silvery footprints wherever he walks, and he can actually see the strands of the weave.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just kind of reach out to something that you guys don't see, but to him, he sees like these strands, and it sounds, his fingers just move in midair, and it sounds like he's playing an acoustic guitar for a second, but like with a weird ethereal twang to it. And as he does, some of those spiders will stop doing what they're doing and come over to us.
Yeah, you see like these 3, they're like the size of like Hisbro form. They're quite large. It's like come down. They're a little alarming. I don't know, Jacques, I don't know how you feel, but like you've got
Hackles on rise. He takes a few steps back, but
they start circling around Eustace at this point.
Like I said, I don't necessarily like, this is kind of your game as far as talking to him, Lou. I just know how to get him, in the area. But mayhaps if you've got some way of kind of sharing things with them, maybe they could help. We're going to try and project ourselves, but they might be able to focus in one area. And by doing so, if they're kind of doing what they do to try and pull apart the membrane a little bit as we try and put ourselves through, might make things just a little easier.
Yes, well, and Lou will kind of like reach out a hand towards the glass spiders to see if they'll sort of listen or reach back a little bit. We are about the interconnectedness of everything, so maybe they can build us some links through that will help guide us.
Give me a charisma tech roll.
Ooh,
As these are very much these weird kind of digital spiders in a way, as they flicker almost.
See,
Right.
even old dogs can adapt to new tricks.
That is a 7 and a 6, so 2 successes.
Okay. You see them, the 3 of them, like latch on to this black mass, and they begin like trying to unravel. And as you're now very close to them, Jacques, you've seen some of them doing that up above, but now that they're down and very close to you, you can see that they continually try to sort of peel apart the threads of this thing. And while they're temporarily able to do so, quickly, you can see that the mass kind of reforms itself, and they never stay in that kind of thread form. The threads kind of unravel and begin to tangle once more. But there is this moment, like this sort of brief moment where they become thin, and that you might be able to, the three of you might be able to punch through. So what I'll do is I'm going to lower the difficulty for that test I was asking you to do, the resolve, what did I say, occult? Then I will lower the difficulty to 2. And if you do that, you can push yourselves through if you time it with the spiders themselves.
All right, let's roll and see if we can get it.
A 9, an 8, an 8, and a 5. So 3 successes.
Jacques,
A 9, a 9, and a 1.
Beautiful. So the two of you, and it looks like Eustace is great as well with a 10 and an 8, I think.
Nice.
So the three of you kind of time it, and maybe it doesn't work necessarily the first time, and like you try to kind of like almost astral project yourselves through, and you can every now and then you can see like a thinness, almost like you can see through it, and maybe on the third or the fourth try, like one of you gets through, then the next gets through, and then eventually all of you find yourselves, like it's like you're taking a step in your mind, but your physical body isn't. And then you find yourself walking on the other side. You stumble for a moment as the ground is unfamiliar, and you look behind you, and there is the mass. You have made it inside. It is extremely dark. However, there is a faint glow above you, and you can see that your spirit guardian, your Cairn spirit, is floating in the sky, as you might expect. She's massive. However, you can see that her glow is much like the pool and much like the grove, extraordinarily diminished. You can see that wrapped around her is this sort of dark, almost worm-like, snake-like, serpent-like constriction. You're not sure if it's an actual creature, if it's a spirit, or what exactly it is. It's just something that is wrapped and spiraled around her, and it is pulling tight, and you can see that seems to be draining the light. You also notice that on the ground around you, where you would normally expect to see these beautiful glowing grove trees, like these citrus trees, they have been horrifically mangled. And you see now instead, there are these gnarled hands. They look like these giant werewolf claws, not like your own, but like the black spiral dancers with these crooked nails. You can see with these pustules that are just leaking something like sap or fluid. And they are moving about as if they're like sentry-like. And you can see that in one row, fairly close to sort of the lowest portion of the sphere of your guardian, you can see one of them has grasped something and is squeezing. And you can see that there is a figure within it. And it looks to be, I would say, you all can probably notice, it is a Dora. Seems to be being grasped in that in the claw of one of these trees.
Do we see any way to move through this field of grasping claws quickly?
Very carefully. That's the decision you make. You can try to stealth through. You can try to speed through. It's sort of up to you all how you want, but you need to traverse it. And there's any strategy would do, like any other trying to pass any danger. It's just a question of how you want to do it.
We must go quietly and quickly.
Would the lupus be better?
Yeah, that's what Jacques draws down into as his wolf form.
All right, then Lou will follow in this instance.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you looking to just run as fast as you can, and are you trying to get to a Dora, or are you just trying to get through stealth? Okay.
I would say we would aim for a Dora first, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and roll stealth. Probably Dex, I think, would be the most likely association with this. So stealth Dex. If you individually want to do something different, if you don't want to stealth, then just say so. But if that's the tactic you're taking, this is what you're
That's doing. 6 dice for Jacques.
2 dice bonus for that form for stealth.
Yeah. Yep.
3? Oh,
Which
nice.
I need.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, 2 dice bonus for lupus?
Yep, for stealth.
I got
Okay,
3
good.
successes.
It's really
1,
nice
2,
that
3,
lupus is
4.
finally, there's something positive about
5.
lupus
Yeah.
finally.
5 successes for me then. That's 2.
Three.
That's plenty.
4. Okay. 4's not bad.
4 is good. How about you, Lou? Okay. So Eustace and Jacques, you two make it through and up to the base, that sort of gnarled base of the claw that is holding Adora. Lou, you have a little bit more of a time, as more than once you get the sense that you have been discovered as a claw rakes down like this, like a tree is literally activated and sweeping down. You manage to dodge most of them, but one of them will in fact rake across you. You can take 1 aggravated damage as you feel this giant claw scrape along your side, and as you watch, the blood comes out, but it comes out almost like blood might come out in like a space movie, as this like little droplets doesn't fall to the ground and it just explodes off to the side. 1 aggravated damage, but you do make it through as well. So difficulty was a 4, so the difference is aggravated. The 3 of you are at the base of this tree that doesn't activate towards you. It seems more interested in just squeezing Adora. You can see her face. She has reverted into Hamid form. She is a woman not unlike some of yourselves in 50s or 60s, you think. You can see the streaks of gray and white in her hair mixed with some blonde. She is definitely sunburned. She is a desert child. You can tell she has spent a significant amount of time in the Southwest. And she is unconscious, but she is, you're not sure, you're assuming she might be alive still. It's hard to say, but her head is just kind of falling out one side. What do you want to do?
Now that we're
sorry.
So I'm sorry. I was just saying, now that we're closer to this spiral serpent that's encircling our Karen spirit, do I see that it's physical, that it's actually a creature, or
it does not look like a creature? As you look up, you see no signs of like the head of a serpent. You see no signs of like the maw of a giant worm. It just looks like this kind of shadowy spiral that's restricting around her. So you never quite know. Spirit worlds is totally different, but like if just using your physical world comparisons, you don't see anything that would link this to an animal.
What do you think, Eustace? We must free Adora so she can tell us what to do here.
Eustace is already switching back to Hispo to make himself a bigger ramp for you, basically, because you're the strongest one here. So he's basically just making himself a ramp for you to leap up higher.
Okay. And then as Jacques takes that first jump off of Eustace's back, he'll shift into Krynos and attack this tree, try to rip its fingers apart.
Go ahead and roll your brawl strength.
Okay. My rage check was okay. Both dice on that.
Hairball special.
The hairball special. I love it. Okay.
Sorry, Melissa and Evan. Just gotta.
We figured out a bit too late the other ways that you can get rage.
Oh yeah,
that you can just psych yourself up. You just spend a scene like doing something to like psych yourself up, or injure yourself. Like we could have just stabbed each other.
I had an idea, but it's just keep going.
I have no problem saying that you all, while this is happening, arrive in the Umbra. I have no problem with that.
I mean, I was going to ask you, like, is like the ability to still travel there possible? Like now that the
Sunshine's there, she can do it for you.
Okay,
she can come back. She can come and go as she pleases. So
then,
she pops in
I think
and travels with them.
At some point, if we figure this all out, and now that we realize this, and Duke being as old as he is, I think he would kind of like try to be consoling Selena based off kind of the rough time she's had, and then
yes,
he would kind of whisper in her ear and just say, "Protect the pack," and then he's going to rake her across the back and push her into the portal and give her like the rage to go through, and he's gonna stay.
All right, and
so that we're not like just sitting there like slapping each other and being like, "Oh, let's go in together."
It's like one of those like. It's like those things of like ESPN3 where the guys are professional slap fighting. Oh my goodness!
Go again. We're still not there.
I do like that the book says you can do like picking a fight at a soccer match is an example of like a thing that you do to like get hyped.
Yeah.
So like we could do something together that like maybe Selena knows what you're doing, And so like maybe like on the way out, she kind of like once she rages, she kind of turns around and maybe like scratches you back so that you can also get a rage.
Okay. Any newcomers in the Umbra? And like the description hasn't changed much. You arrive relatively the same location. If you look and you wish to try to project yourself, we won't belabor the time. If you would like to try to project yourself through, it's the same roll, occult and resolve, to try to maintain your presence and sort of force your presence through there. And then Jacques, go ahead and tell me how you did.
I didn't do as well as I've been doing in the past. I got 8 successes, but I did, and I got a brutal on my rage dice.
Okay. Is it a brutal outcome? Is it just one?
Brutal outcome. I got 2 ones on my rage dice.
Honestly, that is very useful in this case because it's pure strength that is essentially ripping which branches in the physical world, but fingers and claws in this world, and so that actually helps you quite well as you're able to not necessarily free her, but rip one of the claws clean off. And you see this spout of this black eye cord just sort of floats in the air, similar to the way Lou was bleeding. And I would say with that, you can kind of pull Adora free. The claw begins to sort of flail around in pain as you had literally pulled a finger off. And it's starting to make the area around you filled with all those black droplets here and there. But you're able to free Adora and pull her down.
So he cradles her in his arms and drops right in front of Lou and Eustace, and he hates to say it, but he hands her over to Lou.
Yes.
And in his guttural Krynos voice, make her well so she can help us.
This is definitely not my skill set, but I will do my best.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Selena, how did you do on your resolve occult to project?
5 successes.
I'll say you come in just in time to see Jacques attack a giant claw and in the distance. But again, you see between you and them, there are numerous, they look like trees, like gnarled old trees. But as you look a little bit more closely, you see they are actively moving, not with the wind, and they look like these hideous claws. But there's quite a number of them between you and them, and obviously the glow has diminished significantly. So
she looks behind her to see if Duke made it through.
That's up to Duke.
I got 2. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean if you don't have 2 to push through this.
Yeah.
You can definitely get through, but you're going to take 1 aggravated willpower damage though in the process. So as your brain, it's not a physical hurt. Your brain, your sense of self just begins to sort of twist. You feel 1,000 memories rush through your head, Duke. Memories of your bloodline, memories of the members of you, this pack, this set, previous packs you've been in, your bloodline. You're just seeing this flash of images, and when you finally fall on the other side, you just begin vomiting onto the ground, not unlike Hector did with that disgusting black and green viscous fluid. But you have made it through, slightly harmed.
With the night Selena's having, Selena like turns around to see if he made it through. Like, this is just how her night goes. Like, she got the blood spatter from Jacques earlier. Oh.
You see out in front of you the same thing I just described, Selena, and you see your pack mates a ways away, like a football field away, essentially, and several of these giant claws on the way.
Okay.
If you would like to rejoin them, you can either try to speed across, stealth across, whatever. And you can do that independently. You don't have to do the same thing as each other.
Yeah.
Could I try and like manipulate them and like create a path by like my presence to try and like alpha them?
In this case, no, because it's not so like there doesn't seem to be anything about them that you think that you sense is sentient It just seems like they're like this kind of
Security
reactive
system.
infection. Yeah. I would be so things you could potentially do. Obviously, stealth would be fine. Athletics, if you're looking to speed across, I would say if you're looking to be more crafty and try to like find a pattern, maybe you could potentially do like a science, maybe, or an awareness.
Should I do like an int awareness for a path?
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay.
Probably it'd be
Like
wits,
that.
I think, more than int, but awareness is fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
Keep removing dice. Okay, that is a 3 successes.
Okay. You think you have a path. Duke, are you gonna trust Selena? Selena?
No, Duke is just kind of like, I'm just gonna take a breather.
Just gonna sit down.
Yeah, just
Got
kind
this
of like they
horrible
got
sense
it.
of
I see
spirit
they
vertigo.
got a door.
Okay.
I'll just pop a squat,
Okay.
let it hang
Again,
out.
like you're like, and it sort of makes sense. Like you are like, it's this immense sense of spirit vertigo, and then like you, for a moment, you forget who you are, as the minds of so many of your forebears just are racing through you, and you kind of forget for a moment exactly who you are, and it's taking a minute or two for it to sort of come back. Selena, you think you have a path. You think you can time it. You're pretty sure they are moving in a pattern. You are very wrong, as when you travel across, they react to you, and they immediately change. And much like Lou, you take a horrible rake across the side, and you see an expulsion of blood droplets fly out into the air, as you will also take 1 aggravated damage from these claws.
Oh.
You'll hear Duke.
Equals
"Yeah,
4.
it's okay. Just something's gonna go good for you. Don't worry.
He's like the
Right, we're
coach
full of
on the
so much
sideline.
blood. You'd
Yeah,
be
the real
surprised.
dejected coach just kind of like giving you the worst pep talk.
So you managed to catch up as Lou is tending to, and I'll say that you all were smart enough to pull Adora further away from the trees, and you're essentially directly underneath the bottommost part of your spirit guardian here. And just as Lou was tending to Adora, trying to bring her back, Lou, what is it that you rolled, by the way?
Okay, so that was a question I just had rather quickly. I have no medicine, so it would be what, just straight intelligence or
I've got medicine.
Yeah.
wits? I would hand
Eustace.
off to Eustace.
Eustace has medicine.
All right, Eustace, you push Lou back. One of the claws takes her and chucks her to another one.
No.
Start playing catch with her.
Look, I'm not saying I'm great at this, but that's not how you go about this.
Yeah, it's just more rags on the blood, yes?
She's just sticking fingers into holes.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Jacques,
a giant
Pressure
splash.
is good, but you got to maintain the application of that pressure.
It's, I can do with the science of the forensic dead bodies, but the living bodies, not so much.
I think I got 1. I'll spend.
Okay.
Hope hard to re-roll 3 of those.
Sure.
Come on. I'll use an audience one
Audience.
and re-roll
Okay.
1 more.
Okay. Take a
Just
die.
God, the dice. Really?
Are you sure you don't
Stack
want
going
me
on.
to maybe have a go at this? I've been
I
rolling
don't know.
okay.
I don't know
He's
what
like,
I'm doing
That's not how you
anymore."
do it. As he pulls your finger out of one of the claw marks and then puts his finger into the claw mark.
In theory,
All right.
so
I'm
is it
not
just
doing Jack of all
intelligence? I can
trades
roll
anymore.
intelligence.
I'll never make another Jack of all trades character. Always specialize.
Would you like me to roll intelligence for this?
Well, do I see Selena's
Well, that's what I was
Selena
going to
coming in now?
say. As the two of you are
Hold on.
desperately trying,
I got
to
2
aid-
successes. 2 success.
It's pretty good. It's not enough, but it's pretty good. Like as the two of you, you needed 3. I needed 3 successes. But as the two of you are tending, you do manage to keep her alive, but you're struggling a bit. You do see Selena coming up at the last moment.
Oh, thank
And
God.
she makes it through, but as she's almost there, like finally, maybe there's a touch of a smile on her face. Claw just comes down and rakes through her. She stumbles along on the ground. Jacques, you give her a hand. You pull her forward. And I'll say, Selena, you can see what Eustace and Lou are trying to accomplish, but they are not accomplishing it in any manner that is consistent with modern medicine. So if you would like to try to roll, go ahead. If you want to try.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to do Mother's Touch. So I'm spending a willpower. I'm actually rolling fewer dice because it's just glory and int.
Okay.
And by the way, rather than spend willpower to stay in Krynos form, I dropped back down to Glabro, failed my rage roll, lost 1 point of rage, so I'm down to 3 rage now.
Fair enough. Thank you for keeping track of that.
Look at me finally doing a thing. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3. Because I got 2 10s, which is 4, plus a 9 and a 6, which is 6.
Okay, so you come in, you push these, get out of here, and then you manage to.
Yeah, she's coming in, blood spatter, throw up. She just got injured, and she's like, "I think this is something I'm good at. I think let me give this a try."
What's interesting is here
you
can tell that she has what's actually happened, Selena, is that they have been doing a fairly decent job. But the problem is very much like you were struggling with Eustace, is that there's something about his wounds that made it difficult for you to heal. But here, on the other side, on the spirit world, you've noticed something about these wounds. You've noticed that there is some other strange kind of like some sort of black essence or energy like weaving about the edges, and you just kind of start cutting it free. It's painful, but she's a werewolf. You start cutting it free, and the more you kind of cut away some of that affected area, you notice that she starts to shift and move. Adora does, and then you watch as you finally like get the last of some of that infected tissue away. You start to see the regeneration, the werewolf regeneration, even in this form, as she starts to kind of shift almost right there, and consciousness begins to stitch back together. And in a moment or two, her eyes pop open, and you can see that the sort of these bright blue eyes pop up, and reflected in them is the spirit guardian itself above you. And she's looking, and she mumbles something on her breath, and it's a name. You think it's a name, and then you know she's not talking to you. She's like looking past you, and she kind of just looks up at it, and her eyes begin to like well with these tears. And then she's just like, help me up, help me, please.
Jacques picks her up, holds her in his arms.
And she kind of looks to all of you. Oh, I knew you would come. Oh, our poor sweet. She's just kind of looking up, this sadness kind of overtaking, and she looks around. And she sees Duke at the far end, kind of there. And I will need your help. Oh, she has been. Oh, they have imprisoned her. They are trying to snuff her out. Oh,
what can I do?
I need your essence, all of you. Oh,
take
it. And she like reaches out, and she's like, please, circle here. And she's trying to maneuver you all in this circular position right at that kind of spot, the lowest spot. And you can still see almost like this tendril of smoke, that black, it's just continuing to constrict and constrict. You can see these tiny little droplets of like this beautiful, perfect blue water drop out of some of the spindles coming out of the cactus form, and then just immediately evaporate rather than reaching down. You should be standing in a lake right now. And she begins to write. Now, Duke, are you going to stay back? You see this all kind of happening. You see them beginning to kind of form this circle.
Duke does the Breakfast Club fist pump. Stays raised. I think Duke would honestly maybe even just walk out because he's like he can't do
Sure.
anything. He
Okay.
like believes in them, so he's just like, and then you
Okay.
see just the naked old butt walk out of the blood.
You probably can
You.
find Sunshine Bright somewhere out there to help you move past. So all of you, with the exception of Duke, are beneath you. Watch as you get into this kind of circular form. You start going through this rite. You can hear that she begins to sort of hum this extremely low, more than you would expect, like a low bass tone comes out of her mouth in a way that doesn't sound right to your ears. It's the kind of sound that you would only hear in the Umbra. And you can see that just in doing so, like all of these claws begin to kind of like twitch a bit here and there. And she turns to you all and she's like motioning as she wants you to follow. And like you've got like your hands, your claws, whatever form you're in are embraced, and she's trying to get you to sort of mimic this low, bestial, guttural bass tone. And so I would like all of you, you're going to roll a performance test. And I will allow you, however, to roll anything you want in terms of the attributes. It all depends upon how you would kind of deduce the way that she's doing what she's doing. Do you go pure strength, maybe, just to see the force of trying to make that sound? Is it more about charisma, like your natural innate ability to kind of perform in some fashion? Is it intelligence? Do you deduce something about what she's trying to accomplish here and your knowledge of the occult? However you come about the knowledge, pick whichever attribute you want, but roll performance as well. And the number of successes, I'm going to total it all up, and that's going to determine the success of this particular task.
So
So
Selena has
Jacques-
no performance.
Yeah, neither does Jacques. So he's going to dig into his strength, feel it deep in his body, and kind of howl it out through the essence of the Garou. And I'm going to spend a willpower point to re-roll 3 dice.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make sure that we're all in sync and kind of in harmony. Maintain some composure here.
Better.
Very nice. I like it.
So I got 2 10s and a 7, so 5 successes.
Very nice. Very nice. Wonderful. You hear like out of Jacques' mouth, like when you hear its growls, its barks, its howls, but suddenly you hear in perfect harmony with Adora, you hear this bass tone just come out for him, like something that the greatest of singers on earth couldn't even produce, and it comes from Jacques' mouth of all places. What the rest of you?
3.
3? Okay. 3 is this is you guys are doing great.
One.
Selena, is it intelligence you used?
Yeah.
It's unfathomable. It makes no sense. This sound doesn't exist. It sounds like sounds being unraveled and re-raveled. It like you can almost visibly see the sound emerging from their mouths. Like that's how it's working. It's like pushing outward. Like it's almost like you're underwater in some ways. Lou, how did you do?
I used 1 audience dice for a reroll, but it was still a 5. I have 1 success. I used wits just to try to like keep up. Performance isn't my specialty.
Literally, the difficulty of this task was a collective 10. You guys hit 10 on the dot. 5, 3, 1, 1. And as the 5 of you, including Adora, are creating this extraordinarily harmony, you watch again as the claws continue to shake more rapidly and rapidly and rapidly. Duke, as you're outside with Sunshine Bright, as she is getting ready to step back through with you, you watch as that massive tumorous growth also begins to vibrate, this heavy vibe, to the point where the spiders are beginning to fall off or swing off or just kind of reach up into what you will assume is sky and just do a little slit and then just disappear through it in the most imperceptible way possible. And they start to flee as this thing comes tearing down. And from a distance, Duke, as you're on the ridge, you look down, you can see your pack mates there. You watch as this constricting thing around the spirit guardian begins to unravel like it's just kind of beginning to be peeled back, but then it starts to splinter off into these tiny, much smaller little bands, these strands. And one by one, they fall, 5 of them. And each kind of funnels down and then turns. And as the 5 people beneath this ball are their mouths open wide, this low, horrible tone, this amazing tone coming up, you watch as the spiral begins to just swallow up and goes right into their mouths as if they are inhaling this very large, kind of noodly-like shape, each one of them taking whatever horrific corruption that was around into their own bodies. All of you feel this just terrible taste as it wrenches down into your bodies. Each one of you go ahead and roll a stamina test, and you can tag this with resolve as well. So stamina resolve, as you have effectively consumed with Adora whatever that was.
That is 3 success.
3 is good. It's exactly enough.
1, 2. I am going to spend another willpower point.
Welcome to my world. 3 is good. 3 is good.
3 is the difficulty.
I got 4 in total.
Okay.
After the
That's
reroll,
good.
4 in total.
Excellent. Eustace.
Rerolling.
There
So
you
now
go.
I've got some success. Actually, now I've got a crit.
Okay. No, so all of you managed to keep yourselves standing. You don't retch up whatever it was, but you have just consumed something, the specifics of which you don't know. You watched it to the side of you, Adora, who had suffered significant damage. She just kind of collapses at that point. She's still conscious, and she reaches up and she kind of grabs Selena, and she just pulls you. Take us back. Our work is done. And you watch as on the ground that you were standing on, this dry, horrific ground, you see it begins to rain. You look up and you see it's beginning to glow brighter and brighter, and the water dropping down from the spindles is now hitting the ground, and slowly but surely you can see the water beginning to form once more. At that point, you all go through the rite of passage, the rite of shadow passage. You sort of bend back through the light. Duke, in the distance, you and Sunshine do as well. And you all return to your cairn, where you can immediately see that the water in the sort of the cavern beneath the church has lost that blackish taint and has grown colorful once more, that beautiful blue. The levels are still low, but they are rising. And that is where we're going to go ahead and end this session. Appreciate you all hanging out for a little bit longer. I wanted to end that arc since we have like 2 folks taking a break for the next couple of weeks. I wanted to end that arc, but that is where we'll end for tonight.
That was
Yay.
awesome.
Yay.
We did it.
Cool.
We worked
And
through
we
the
learned,
rules.
and we learned more
Definitely
We're
about
all
Rage.
evil, and Duke
Yeah.
is the only good person.
Yeah, definitely consuming those things is not going to come back at all. That's not
No,
going to
no,
be...
that won't be a bad thing at all.
Duke's
no.
finding a new pack. What?
Oh, fantastic. All right. So we went a little late, so let's go ahead and just do a quick little round table and we'll get on out of here so everyone can go. Thank you for those of you who hung out tonight for a little bit longer. We appreciate all the bits you've thrown. Griff, I've got your complications. I have a couple ideas for them. Sort of already used one of them, but I got others in mind. So let's go ahead and do a couple plugs here, and then we'll get out of here. Jeremy, please go ahead and tell us about this Patreon.
Yeah, earn Reese on Patreon. If you get comics, maps, tokens, fun stuff, check it out.
Perfect. Let's see. Aaron, tell us about Garblag.
Garblag next week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Millie will be back with Coriolis. Wednesday at the same time, Dan will be continuing our adventures in Warhammer 40k with some more Death Watch Space Marine shenanigans. And then on Thursday, Lewis will be back taking them on a One Ring adventure in the Ballad of the Bardings.
Perfect.
Also, real quick, Pete, Garblag Pete, his new quick start version of Heroic Deeds is out on Drive-Thru RPG for free. You should check it out. It's very cool.
Fantastic. I'll grab for those of you who watch this later on YouTube, check the show notes. I'll put a link down there for it. I don't have it on hand right now for those of you watching Twitch. Okay, so then for us, tomorrow night is our next session as we are going to be finishing up Conan. Aaron hops into the GM seat. It's our last Hyperborean tale for now. Maybe we'll come back to it. It's a wonderful thing about Conan. But come hang out with us tomorrow night. Saturday, penultimate session for Wondering as our second to last. So come check that out as we are marching on Carndum. That always goes well. Then Monday, extremely excited for this as we have been gearing up for some Fragged Empire, space sci-fi. We did our sessions here, got our characters made, and it's going to be our first actual play session. So come watch that. And then there's some people on the stream that are possibly as, if not more excited for what's happening on Tuesday, which I'm going to let Kipser do briefly. What's going on Tuesday, Kipser?
So the X-Men are the best, and you should definitely start with the early 90s television show and then work your way in through the comic books. Highly recommend. We have X-Men on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. Steven's running that, and Jeff and Melissa and Aaron and myself are all in it. Yeah.
Marvel role-playing game. It's our first session with our made characters. We were playing with pre-made characters before. We get to actually introduce the characters we all made. I think we know a little bit of them. We know our names, but so it's still going to be, there's still some surprises. Jeremy knows my character.
Not set in Earth 616. We're set in Earth 101 for Lolly. Exactly.
All right, that's it for us. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for following, subbing, and all that good stuff. I already started up a raid for Insomniac RPG because they do weird things whenever we raid. They put weird stuff up on the screen. So let's go do that. So follow the raid. We'll see y'all later. Have a good night, and bye-bye.